Devin, welcome back to Fargo Talks.
Thanks for having me.
My friend.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yes, very good.
It's something that I wanted you back on with all the stuff going on now in our country, and we're becoming so divided with things, and I love your brain.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I think you're a really good guy.
Thanks.
And so I wanted to just have you come in and let's just talk about what's going on.
We need to talk. The world needs to talk. America needs to talk.
And I think you're right. That's something we talked about before we went live, is that we need to do more things that unite us than divide us.
Yes.
And go back for a second and tell me about the conversation you had with your husband, and also his political affiliation, and if you're okay with saying his religious affiliation.
Yes.
Is wonderful.
To make myself even more of a unicorn that I am, my husband is Democrat. So we definitely have polar opposite, political beliefs, and he's also LDS. So with the, past events of this horrible, horrific, terrible shooting, that kind of sparked all those conversations back up. And one thing he said to me that really kind of affected me when he was walking out the door this morning, he just said, today be a uniter, not a divider. And that stuck with me because I think a lot of us, it's super easy to fall into that very divisive rhetoric. There's obviously so much that makes us different, but there's so much that makes us alike and the same. And I think that's part of the issue right now, is that people aren't having conversations. It's like, as soon as a shooting happens lately, it's like everyone's quick to figure out, are they a Democrat? Are they a Republican? Are they MAGA? Are they liberal? And it's like, that's really strange to me, because that shouldn't be the first thing that we think of when we see a news article or something pop up on our phone. 20 people killed, active shooter, and we think, oh, is it a Democrat or a Republican?
Or
were
trans.
they Trump, or were they trans, or were they gay, or were they black, or were they white?
Lived in with a furry.
I don't care who they were.
Who gives a shit?
I mean, they killed a bunch of innocent people, and that is all that matters. The headline shouldn't have anything to do with that person's race, their sexuality, their political affiliations, their religion. At the end of the day, innocent people were practicing their faith, which is what this country was founded on, and they should have the right to do that without fear of, being targeted just for that.
It's so easy to become emotional.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've always learned, and I was always taught, the first person in a negotiation or in a conversation, the first person that gets overtly emotional in a negative way, like you get upset, you get angry, you become accusatory, you're going to lose the argument.
No,
and you're going to lose your audience as well.
Yeah.
Right? The only people I think you're going to kind of stir up are the lowest people that don't want to do the research and don't want to watch an entire video, and they just judge from a 30-second clip.
And I think that's part of the issue right now, is the people on the fringe, because let's be honest, there's fringe people on the right, there's fringe on the left, in between, and they typically they suck the air out of the room. They get the most airtime. They're the loudest voices, and then they become the representation of the entire right or the entire left or the entire middle. Yeah. And the reality of it is, the most of the country does fall in the middle. But those are the people that kind of suck all the air out of the room, and then everybody just falls under, okay, you're left or right, so you must think that way, or you must, think the other way. And it's all about identity at that point.
It's even coming from, I watched Charlie Kirk's funeral service in Phoenix, and what Erica Kirk, I don't know what she's made of. It's not human.
Insane.
Right?
Yeah.
To go through, to process the shock and horror of what happened in such a violent way. He was assassinated. And for her to get up and forgive that young man for what happened.
And so quickly, too. I mean, as a person of faith myself, that's something I believe you can't do without some sort of religious, faith-based, true belief in your heart. Because, that was incredible to watch. And also incredible just to see the reactions to it. So much good, but also a lot of visceral reaction. And, it was a Trump rally. And, a lot of just ignorance, people that don't understand. I mean, if you watch any Turning Point event, it's kind of those are their staples, the fireworks, the things. And they were trying to pay tribute to how he would have wanted it, I mean, I want fireworks at my funeral.
Oh, yeah.
You bet I want fireworks, celebrations.
Hell yes.
I think anybody would wish to have their funeral in a giant stadium with 100,000 people and look what it caused, a huge revival. And I think a lot of important discussions are being had in between all the nastiness, which is good that people are starting to talk more about those things and about uniting and what brings us together. It's just a shame that the divisiveness gets more of, the airtime, if you will.
What sucked, the part that got me that I didn't like about that day was she gets up and does her thing and is literally bearing her soul. Like she's praying beforehand for strength. And like you could tell she's talking to Charlie.
Oh yeah.
Like it was
totally
one of the most powerful speaking engagements I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Then Trump gets up and says, I hate my enemies. I can't forgive. I'm like, no,
I know.
No.
And as somebody who
read the room, dude,
supported Trump, and that was a moment where I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I was not a Trump guy at that moment.
No, I didn't like it either, and I will fully admit that. I just thought it was, and I get because when she was touching on like the biblical aspect of, we are the shield, the government's the sword, I thought it was beautiful when she talked about not wanting his blood on his ledger, like that's the government's job. But it was like, we could have saved that for, I get what he was getting at, and that's very Trump, but it's like, do that at a press conference like the next day or something, not on stage. But I guess that's Trump for you. You never know what he's going to say.
He goes off script. He goes off script, and I'm sure that was not, on the prompter, on the teleprompter for him to read.
Oh, I'm sure.
And again, for the most part, I think he's doing well. But when he did that, I'm like, no, dude, we need to be brought together right now.
Yeah, and in those times, you have to be very, very aware of those words because you're right. You are the president. We need to be brought together. So when in one turn everyone's saying, "Oh, we need to be united. Let's come together," and then you get up and say, "I hate my enemies. Let's go after them." Yeah, it's a twisted message, and it's not a good look.
What's that send? And what's that send to the fringe? Left and the fringe right.
Exactly.
When Trump gets up after Erica Kirk says, "I forgive the young man that assassinated my husband."
Yeah.
And then the leader of the free world gets up and goes, "I can't do that. I hate my enemies."
Well, and if anything, it made me frustrated because I'm like, you just gave them a perfect soundbite, a perfect clip. They're going to roll that over and over again. They're going to roll that in the midterms. And you have to think about those things too, which I think at this point, he's in his last couple years. He's just hands off, balls to the walls, doesn't really care. But you have to pay attention to those moments when millions of people, especially young people, because that was Turning Point's whole and Charlie's whole thing was, the young people and influencing them because they are so easily influenced.
J.D. Vance wouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
J.D. Vance didn't say that.
No, he didn't. Marco Rubio didn't say that.
Can we talk for a second about Marco Rubio?
Yeah, he's great.
I mean, oh my God.
My family is originally from Florida, so we're, big Florida people. I'm a Florida guy.
I just remember him in the debates getting crushed by Trump, little Marco.
Yeah.
And it was like, come on, Trump. And then he gives him, now he's got more jobs than a Jamaican.
Oh, yeah.
He's got 15 different jobs.
He's a guy. I love all the memes that are always like, oh no, I'm
now going to be this. I'm now going to be this, which is hilarious.
The ones where it was like, oh, he's now going to host Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Yes. Which that's all. And I want to talk about Kimmel with you. Rubio is someone that has come, everyone loved him in Florida.
Yeah.
Right? Solid.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's on a global stage and kicking ass.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the, if not the best appointments that were made.
Agreed.
And 100% of the Senate, that never happens. They all voted for him. So that shows you something. They clearly like him, and he clearly is able to reach across the aisle. So.
He is the biggest win in the Trump cabinet, I think. And I'm a fan of Pete Hegseth. I'm a fan of Tulsi Gabbard.
Me too.
I'm a fan of J.D. Vance.
Me too.
I'm a fan of RFK Jr.
Yeah.
They just talked today. They had Pfizer come on. Did you see that?
Yeah. And I think the part of all that too that always gets missed is like these aren't conservative right-wing Republicans. These are all people, a literal Kennedy. You have Tulsi from Hawaii, the most blue area you could get. And I feel like that always gets lost in the sauce too these days. It's like we talk about unity, and I'm like, this is the most diverse, unified, mixed administration. You have people of all different ethnicities, people who were Democrats, who were independents. You have lots of gay people, and that never gets pointed or talked about because, they have
Treasury
an R next
Secretary.
to their names now. Yeah.
Scott Bessent.
Love him.
Is
Huge.
wonderful.
And he's probably the best we've ever had.
And
The guy's so smart and so articulate and just lays it down. He's amazing.
it is, if you look at an anti-DEI cabinet
Yeah.
of people that have been appointed by merit,
Right.
that's what Trump's cabinet is.
And it's still diverse. It's still diverse.
What a shock.
Without having to say those things ahead of time. I am going to appoint a gay person, a black, saying those ahead of time, you're just saying, you're basically saying you're doing it because of it's a DEI pick and you want to make a statement.
It's lip service to the constituency.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all it is.
Yeah.
You know what?
And that's not how you get the best. Look at the last administration. It was all DEI hires, and we got stuck with a lot of hot mess, chaos.
Awful. I mean, I was, and I get caught up. Rogan has a thing he's talked about where over 50% of the comments you see online are bots.
Yeah.
And it's China, it's North Korea, it's Russia trying to incite divisiveness with us to get us all fired up.
Yeah, and it works.
And it works.
It totally works.
I mean, I now have stepped back from commenting. I used to comment on everything.
Yeah.
And now I've really stepped back from that because I'm looking and here's an egg for a profile photo.
Right.
Or some like pixelated
that has
photo.
one post.
They have one post.
No engagement, no follower.
They're following nobody. And they're like, bah, bah, bah. And I used to like, right back. But now I'm just like, you know what? That's an LLM. That's AI.
Yeah, or there's even just people, or I guess if you can even call them influencers, that's all they do is like that rage engagement to like shit post and get you to start those long arguments. Meanwhile, they're watching their they're making that money and the dollars are coming in because you're just fighting with them.
They're making a killing. And I watched today Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, gets up and says there's now going to be fitness testing for everybody.
Yeah.
Even the fat general. And they said, why are you calling all these generals from all over the place? Well, he fat shamed them.
Yeah, he did.
He did. And you know what? Good. He should.
Yeah.
But you go into the comments. Now, of course, if it's NBC's TikTok, you know what you're going to get in the comments ahead of time compared to Fox or whoever else. And most of the number one thing was, well, what about this guy? Picture of Trump playing golf with a muffin top and everything else, which to me, he's commander-in-chief. You know what? He's 79 years old.
Well, right. The commander-in-chief position is a title given to because you're the president. You oversee that. You are a member of the military. You're not an active duty.
Exactly right.
And if you're the leadership of our soldiers that are supposed to go to war, you should be the example, which means you should be in tip-top shape.
So Pete Hegseth is now saying everybody, twice a year, you're going to go through a physical fitness test. And, in height and weight. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Better them than me.
Better them than me.
But that's what you would expect, I wouldn't go into a field like military, police, firefighter, and not expect that. Like, you go in.
Right?
You got to be able to carry my ass out of a building,
Jesus
okay?
Christ,
I'm 6'5",
Devin.
220.
It's bananas.
Yeah.
But I'm looking in the comments, right? And the most of them are talking about Pete Hegseth is an alcoholic and he's a drunk.
Or they always want his tattoos.
Or
he's a white supremacist because he has "We the People" tattooed on him. Okay, I'm like, that's the document of our country,
I can't.
Or something which that's a whole nother topic. It's like anything patriotic is now like racist, and it's
the American flag.
Yeah.
Because it's now they say it's MAGA, which is what Make America Great Again is a bad thing.
I literally I've been working at an apartment complex and a resident complained to the manager. I have a white vinyl American flag sticker on my car, and they complained and said it was racist because it was all white. And I was like, I don't know if that's a thing. I don't think it's a thing. I've never heard of it. It's just American flag. But even something like that, like a sticker on a car triggered somebody to go talk to my manager and say they have a racist, sticker. I'm like, all that's on it's American flag. I do have a sticker that says socialism sucks, but they didn't point out that one, but it was the American flag.
Did you take it down?
No, I would never.
Good for you.
I love my American flag.
Good for you.
I'm proud of this country, and I don't think it should ever be seen as a hate symbol or anything negative.
Look what's going on in the UK right now.
Yeah,
it's illegal.
Insane. Yeah,
it's illegal to fly the flag, to fly the Union Jack,
to have pride where you're from,
or the Scottish flag or the Irish flag. That is because it is inflammatory to the Muslims and the Indians and everyone else that's now have moved in.
They're so worried about, protecting everyone else's culture, but what about the culture of these people, which I guess doesn't matter just because their skin is lighter, but those people, we all have culture, we all have tradition, we all have things that are important. And I think that's part of that whole issue is a lot of these immigrants that are coming in, they don't want to assimilate, they don't want to respect our culture, but these weak-minded liberal leaders are bending over backwards to respect theirs while sacrificing the culture of their own people. And it's kind of crazy to watch. And I honestly think if Trump hadn't have won, love him or hate him, that's what would be happening right now. And that's what was happening under Biden, with millions and millions of people undocumented just flooding into our country.
I think that's his biggest win. I mean, that's his biggest win is the war on immigration has been won. Like there's nobody coming through the southern border.
And it just goes to show that something could have been done and it wasn't done. Because if you look at the numbers now, these people that were these reporters and that sat on the border for years and watched it, and now they're like, now we go down and no one's there. Or we see one or two people that get stopped immediately.
Ghost town.
So it's like, okay, so the whole time when you were telling us the border's closed, something could have been done and you weren't doing it. And now we see that.
it is like, I think that, for Trump right now, his biggest win is the borders. The tariff thing has yet to play out. I mean, that one, you got to give that one time.
Yeah.
I think I'm all for it, but I mean, we've taken a hit here.
Yeah.
Canadians hate us in Las Vegas.
Right.
And we're down. I think now it's like 8% year over year with people coming in.
Yeah, it's slowing down.
And so things are slowing down. And so we have to wait and see what happens with the tariffs. But back to the immigration thing, and that it came out this week. There's somewhere in Michigan where like the police chief is Muslim. And the mayor is Muslim. I think it's like Dearborn or somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Dearborn is that's Rashida Tlaib, Congresswoman, her district, right? Which is heavily, I think it's something probably like over 60%, immigrant, Muslims, Palestinians. The same thing with Ilhan Omar's district in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I mean, at their rallies, they don't even speak English. They have Somalian flags. It's like, you wouldn't even think you were in America.
Which to me, again, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, even Governor Tim Walz, which thank God he's not our vice president.
Oh, dear God.
They changed the Minnesota state flag and it looks almost identical to the Somalian flag. So it's like, what are we doing here?
I saw a clip of a woman come in and address either a city council or some government body and talk about how there are loudspeakers with call to prayer going off at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And everyone on the city council are all Muslim. They're all like, what about it?
But could you imagine if it was a Christian call to prayer or a Jewish call to prayer or something else being, put on a loudspeaker for the whole? No, it wouldn't fly. We know it wouldn't.
People lose their minds.
Yeah.
People lose their minds. And so I just think that we have reached, there's just weak people in positions of strength.
Right.
That's happening now in pockets of the United States or all of California with Gavin Newsom, who is, to me, he's just not a good person.
Yeah.
He's
been auditioning for president for
he is
8 years.
and has been trying forever. I hope he doesn't get in, but My God, Devin.
I hope too, but I don't put anything past Democrats at this point. I'm even worried about his whole congressional map that's supposed to be voted on in November. It looks like it's going to pass. Like all of the polls say people are supporting it, which is wild because they're totally just scrambling up their state, and they're not going to get a voice when before it was like an independent group that drew those lines, and now it's just a very Democrat-ran state. So I don't blame the Republican states for doing the same thing, redrawing lines, which I think all in general is messy, but it's like, is that what we're going to do from now on? Just go back and forth in every state? I mean, we already have a census coming up in 2030 where everything's going to be redrawn, and that's only in 5 years. So
it is, and we talk about the rhetoric, and people have to dial down the rhetoric.
No, they do.
Yet he tweets this past week, Stephen Miller? Stephen Miller's a fascist. In all caps.
Yeah.
And it's like.
It's just, and it's not even 2 weeks after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and what was on the bullet? The word fascist. It's like, we got to step away from that and get those, but clearly that's not sticking to them. It's the same words over and over again. Every member of Congress on the far left is getting up and saying those same things. And I do wish that there was more people, those kind of middle of the road Democrats, because I know they exist, but I just think they're afraid to speak out against any of that to disrupt the far left and maybe lose donors or things. And
it's crazy, though, Devin. I said this before. I have another podcast I do, and I said it there. I'll say it again, that everybody used to be labeled a narcissist.
Right.
Everybody was a narcissist. Well, now everyone now is a fascist.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really are a student of history, if you look at Hitler, at Mussolini, those were fascists.
Yeah.
And Trump he's just not. He doesn't fit the definition.
Well,
of
that was like one of the. What did he say when they were doing the whole no kings thing? And he jokingly said, he made a good point. He's like, if I was a king, I wouldn't be dealing with all these lawsuits and all this headache and things tied up within Congress. If I was king, I could just snap my fingers and what I say would go. So the whole king and fascist and Nazi, what's horrible too is those words don't have meaning anymore. The word racist, the word homophobic, the word fascist, Nazi, it's just they throw it around, and those are words that are heavy and have a lot of weight and they carry a lot with them. But now they've been used so much to call everybody you just disagree with, and now they don't have meaning.
I put up I was really pissed off I was sad and pissed off when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and I took something from what Glenn Beck had posted, and he said that we all need to remember that Charlie Kirk was a civil rights leader. He wasn't a politician. He wasn't a religious leader. He was a civil rights leader.
Right.
I posted that, and on Threads, the visceral hatred.
Mm-hmm.
I was called a pedophile.
Oh, God.
I was called a fascist. I was called a racist. I was called a Nazi, and I took it down.
Oh, they just went through the list.
That's what their whole checklist of what to call someone that is somewhat on the right leaning or that likes Charlie Kirk. And I took it down for a few reasons, but I was like, what? Like, have you looked at any of go online, look at any of my content.
Yeah.
And I don't say anything that is fascist or racist or pedophile-like.
And that was part of the whole issue, is they piecing and clipping all the clips of Charlie, and they would only take a sentence out of it, but not show you the whole interaction, and that's part of the issue too, is that we're taking clips and pieces and sound bites to fit the narrative they want instead of showing the whole truth.
We live in wild times, my friend.
We do.
It now takes more effort than ever to not get mad.
Yeah.
And to not have your blood boil.
You really have to think, because I tell you, the amount of times I type stuff, I'm like, comments, and then I'm like, okay, delete.
You're all fucking pissed off.
But you always have to, like, write it out first and then delete it.
What great advice is go ahead and write it out, but don't send it. Because sometimes it's cathartic just to type it out.
That's a good practice that people do, even keeping a journal or something and just writing those things down. Now, hopefully they're sane and normal. If you're thinking anything violent, go get help. But, but it does help to kind of get those things out, or have someone, a sane a good friend or someone that you can openly talk to, like having these conversations, which is important. And that's part of the problem, because even I've lost a lot of really, really good friends, people that were in my wedding, that I just don't talk to me anymore because I became extreme or I became radicalized. And I'm like, I'm the same person. I've had these beliefs since I was, before I could walk, before my mom started teaching me things. I pre-registered at 17. You've known me my whole life.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden I'm radical. I'm like, because I voted for Trump. Well, I voted for him the last 2 times also.
Yeah.
We talked during the 2016 administration. We talked when he lost in 2020, but now it's different somehow.
I've preached to my daughter's 16. I have a stepdaughter who's almost 17. My daughter's 16 and my son is 9. And my daughter goes to a performing arts high school here in town.
Yeah.
It's performing arts.
Yeah.
A lot of people there that are gay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right.
I don't. As long as you're a good person.
Exactly.
You can date a goat. I don't care. As long as the goat's good to you, I don't care. Right? And so her and I have talked. And she said, well, you support Charlie Kirk and he wasn't a good person. And I said, honey, first of all, I want to tell you something. I'm Gen X.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was brought up, it's okay to have a difference of opinion and still be friends with somebody. So we're going to start this conversation off with, I love you eternally. I will never love anything more on this planet than you as my child. Like there's my wife and then there's you and your brother.
Right.
And so we can have these talks and we need to go into this before you even start down this, because she was kind of probing me because she's smarter than me. Fuck,
oh, yeah.
I'm fucked.
And they have so much access to everything now, too.
That's the thing.
They could check you in real time. Hold on.
She didn't. And I asked her if she saw the assassination video, and she said no. And I said, please don't watch it.
Yeah.
You don't want to watch it. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But I said to her, honey, before we even start this conversation, I love you. Do you love me? She said, yes. I said, never forget that.
Yeah.
Never forget that. And so it's a tough example, but it's an easy one because that's my child.
Yeah.
And I'm knock on wood, we have a good relationship. We have our hiccups, but she's a great kid and I love her and she's brilliant. But with people that you don't know or you thought you knew, I have people sliding into my Facebook messages and DMs that I'm friends with from years ago saying, how could you, I unfriend them.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm not going to justify where I'm coming from, nor am I going to ask you where you justify you're coming from. I'm going to ask you to quantify your position just to have a spirited debate, because we were founded on debate.
Right.
By a bunch of guys. Most of them were drunks.
Yeah.
Go see Hamilton, for Christ's sake. Most of them were a bunch of cavorting with concubines and had, banging slaves. Jefferson.
We went to war against each other.
Yes. Yes.
But probably because they stopped having conversations.
Because they stopped talking. And once you stop talking, then you start creating stuff in your brain and it becomes toxic. And then
And anyone who says those things, they clearly have never followed Charlie, watched any of his full videos, those full conversations, because you would see that's just not the truth. And every conversation, he always started with, I love you, I respect you. Yeah. And even when people come up, one of my favorite clips is someone says, oh, I'm a gay conservative. And he goes, well, first of all, don't announce yourself with your sexuality. You're more than that. And I agree. You don't go up to people and say, hi, I'm Jeff, I'm straight.
Right.
I don't introduce myself, hi, I'm Devin, I'm gay.
Right.
Everybody, every human being is you're more than your gender, you're more than your sexual identity. You're human, and we're more than that. And that was his whole message, is let's have those conversations. Even if we leave and we still don't agree, we still had that conversation. And his whole platform was when we stop talking is when the violence happens.
The thing I said to my daughter was, 'cause she was asking me, well, what about, he was against trans people. I said, no, he wasn't. No, he was not.
Yeah.
He respected them, but he said that you need to, before you start going through all the surgery and things that are going to chemically change your body, you really need to think about it, and pray about it.
Yes.
And which I'm all for that.
Yeah.
And I said to her, I said, honey, if you were to introduce me to a friend of yours that's trans, I wouldn't treat them any differently than I would treat somebody that was, like you or me or whatever, a furry or whatever they are. I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, I look at it the same thing if I met somebody who is going and getting plastic surgery or things for weight loss. It's they're doing something to make themselves feel better, to love themselves more, and to live a better life. And if that's what they need to do that, then yes. But you're right. It is a very serious thing and a commitment. So you have to be pretty sure that that's a choice. You
really better know what you're doing.
Because now look at, we have this whole trend of people detransitioning, and the one thing they all have in common is they all started at a very young age. They're not like the Caitlyn Jenners or people that did that in their adult life. They were all 11, 12, starting very young. Yeah. They're not fully developed. Your brain's not developed. My brain's not even developed.
Well,
I don't think.
Please, I'm 55.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's
not. It's
right.
You're
always developing.
You're always trying to evolve, become a better person. Yeah. I know I'm going to fail miserably today at things, but I'll try it better tomorrow. Yeah. And I'm trying to be better today than I was yesterday. That's all we can do, Devin. That's all we can do as human beings. And I just think that we really need to start being more patient with others.
Yes, that's a good word. Patience.
We need to be more empathetic with where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And we need to start reaching out to people with friendship and be patient with them as they're
Yeah, and not just immediately labeling somebody just because they have a different opinion. Try to see why do they have that different opinion. Find what that fire is inside of them that makes them feel so passionate about whatever issue it is that you have a disagreement on.
I've invited people that are Democrat or on the left, aside from Attar, who's come on. He was awesome, and I'm trying to get him back on. But other people, like I've seen people that are like micro-influencers on TikTok that are throwing hatred around, and they're here based in Vegas. I've reached out to them to say, hey, I've got a little podcast. Come on. Nothing.
Yeah.
And Bill Maher says it great on his show. The Republicans show up.
Yeah.
They always, like Nancy Mace was just on. And he said, he goes, you show up. I asked you to come on. You come on.
And that's what really helped them in 2024. They went into those uncomfortable spaces. I mean, even if you turn on Fox News, most Democrat, congressional members won't even go on because they only will go into safe spaces like MSNBC, CNN, or other liberal podcasts or platforms. And we should be going everywhere. When you are an elected member of Congress or the Senate, your president, whatever you're trying to run for, you're representing everybody. You're not just representing the Democrats or the Republicans in your district. You're representing everybody, even the people that didn't vote.
Right.
Even the ones that don't vote, they're not engaged, but they complain online. You're still representing them.
It's so easy to fall into the two camps.
Yeah.
Right. And like you said, that there are some moderate Democrats.
Yeah.
There's probably moderate Republicans. And it's, you know what? We all need to start. And I think that it's the moderate Republicans, moderate Democrats need to start like going out for drinks quietly so nobody knows. And just talk and go, okay, what do we agree on?
Right.
What are some things
What can we find common ground?
What common ground can we reach together?
Kind of like the one person that surprised me was Senator Fetterman. Like, I'll admit, when he first got elected, I was like, who is this crazy, like, looks like he lives in his mom's basement, liberal, like pothead. I had all these thoughts. And I admit, I made snap judgments and things. And now look, he turns out to be the most level-headed, middle-of-the-road, reach across the aisle. He was the only senator, I think, that they just were voting on one of the continuing resolutions to try to keep the government open. And he's the only Democrat that voted to keep it open. And he sounds so sane all of the time. And it's like, what happened to that? Like,
John Fetterman is the only voice of reason in the Democratic Party today.
Yeah, which is crazy because it's like the 7-foot guy in a hoodie and cargo shorts, and you're like, who is this clown?
I think he wore cargo shorts. Fetterman wore cargo shorts to Trump's inauguration.
Yeah,
like it was hilarious.
But he's true to who he is.
That's his. Yeah. That's his thing, and it's. I praise him for that.
Yeah,
and I respect him for that. He's a guy you could agree to disagree with. And it's okay. You don't wish him, you're not yelling, slurring, throwing slurs at him and,
Yeah,
and
he's
all
his
that.
own voice. He doesn't fall in line. And that's one thing I'll say, though. Oh, Republicans have power and everywhere, but they can't get anything done. A lot of that is because there are a lot of butting heads inside because it's a diversity of thought now. It is a big tent party. There are a lot of different opinions. They're all not just MAGA. There's people that represent different thoughts. I feel on the left, it's usually, even if they have a different opinion or a different thought, they won't publicly say that. At the end of the day, they'll fall in line and vote with everyone else, except for the people like a John Fetterman who will say, what they truly feel and vote their conscience.
They are terrified.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Well, okay, let's look at Kimmel with what happened. He, Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, says, what you said was wrong. You need to, apologize. And he basically says, no, I'm doubling down.
Yeah.
Fine, you're out.
Right.
Or at least a leave of absence for a while. We're taking your show off. And all the affiliates say, we're not going to. Sinclair, all the big ones said, no, we're not going to carry the show. What I was told and what I've seen is Hollywood came back to Iger and said, if you don't let Kimmel back on, we are going to basically ruin the Disney brand and ABC, and you won't get
not
actors.
much left to ruin. I mean,
well, it's also true, but you won't have actors for your movies or your TV shows or anything. And he immediately towed the line and brought Kimmel back in.
Which is, well, I have a few thoughts on that, because if you ask most people on the left, they'll tell you it was Donald Trump and the government that, got him off the air, which it wasn't. But yeah, I mean, I feel like you have a right to say certain things, but when you're in a contracted position and you represent a company, they do have that right to take you off if they feel like it's not going to benefit them or make them money, because those guys get paid a lot. They get paid a lot of money. They're making $40 million a year when their show is bringing in maybe $10 million. So yeah, it's a business decision at the end of the day. And look, he was off for like a week. And I think he was fine. I think he'll be okay.
And he's a Vegas guy, and he's been very good to Vegas. Mm-hmm. Like when anyone I know that's ever met him says he's wonderful.
Yeah.
I just changed my political affiliation to Republican after what happened with Charlie Kirk.
Nice.
I was independent.
Welcome.
Yeah. Well, I was Republican forever, like third generation. I changed to independent when we moved here from St. George, Utah in 2012 because I knew we were a battleground state. I didn't want all the fucking mail.
Yeah.
I didn't want all the mail in my mailbox.
It's so much I'm already getting texts.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand it. And so but now I'm like, no, I'm going back to my roots to be a member of the Republican Party, but I'm a moderate Republican.
Right. Yeah.
I will listen to the other side as long as you're not hurling pedophile insults or Nazi fascist insults at me. We can talk. Yeah. And I'm more than happy to give whoever, if you are a moderate or hard left and you want a seat on Fargo Talks, it's here for you. If you're in, I would love to have sometime like you, Danielle, and like Atar, and we just sit and let's just talk.
Yeah, have those conversations.
And let's have some sincere conversations.
Another thing with the whole Kimmel Disney thing that blew my mind was like, where was all this energy with people like Gina Carano who got fired from The Mandalorian? That was for a tweet. She tweeted an opinion. She got canned. Nobody had a problem with that. Nobody had a problem when they were literally taking a president of the United States off of Twitter, deplatforming him on every platform.
Crickets.
They didn't care.
Yeah.
So you can't do the whole one side thing and get mad and say, oh, we got to bring him back. You're censoring, when you celebrated other people being censored because they just had different opinions than you.
I'm torn with the whole Kimmel thing because I agree with you 100%. It's monitored by the FCC. It's public airwaves. You can't do that. You can do that on HBO, on Netflix, on Paramount Plus, streaming services. Go ham, go crazy. That's fine. Yeah. But on public airwaves, you really can't do that. But the problem is, and Rogan had a good point about this, because Kimmel, to his core, was a stand-up comic. That's where he started. And if you start coming after stand-up comics, for jokes. Like where does that end? Like it's a slippery
and they're
slope
so
you're
quick.
going down.
And it always kills me how quick they are to defend him. And I'm like, just go look at all of his past work where he would do blackface, where he was the whole man show with women in bikinis jumping on trampolines, you know, before. It's like, oh my gosh. And now all of a sudden you're this like, you know.
But now I'm the poster boy of, you know,
political correctness
of PC talk. And so, but I had a problem with, again, it's Trump goes off script, but him just like with the tweets at Jimmy Kimmel, I'm like, no, that does not help. All that does is stir up your base. Oh yeah, it doesn't bring anybody over
many
your side.
Times I'm like, oh, I wish somebody would take. I don't know if he's tweet. I do, but I think Trump does tweet himself when he's like post those. I do think it's him typing those out. So. At that point, I guess he just can't be stopped, but I'm sure someone says something, they have to.
Well, they showed a video of him. I know that he has somebody that is like with him because when they were campaigning, they're getting a suite somewhere. It's a very attractive woman, and he's telling her what to say, and she was giving him feedback, and he was listening to it and saying, okay, fine, let's do that. And then out would go the tweet. I don't think he had that type of governor on him previously.
Right.
Because previously it'd be like 3 a.m. and he's just firing shit out, man.
I do hear that he doesn't sleep. He stays up.
You drink 17 Diet Cokes a day, Devin.
There you go.
And what happens? Jesus, it's like Tony Montana and Scarface. He's just like.
But what about the whole like Gavin Newsom now? And he's like literally trying to tweet exactly like Trump. I think that whole thing is weird. He seems to think it's a great strategy.
The whole Newsom thing, Newsom scares me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. Gavin Newsom really scares me.
I think it scares a lot of people in Vegas because if you've been here long enough, you know all the residual effects. I mean, that's why our gas doesn't go down like everywhere else because we get our gas from California and all of the, you know, things that we're punished for being so close to that state.
He is a very handsome, slick, well-spoken man who's passionate. He's smart, but he is fucking Darth Vader, man. Yeah. He is the Lord of the Sith. Yeah. And he scares me.
Yeah, but he has that Obama, early Clinton charisma, like you're right. You're exactly right. And people fall for that.
People fall. It all comes down to the base is usually, for either side, it's true, the most uneducated, cerebrally lazy people. They won't take the extra effort to watch a 45-minute video of someone speaking, but they'll take an overly edited 14-second clip, Devin, and go, God damn it, what's he saying?
And also the fact that all he's ever done, if you just look at his life, it's clear that he wants to be president. He was mayor of San Francisco, moved his way to governor. He's just slowly creeping up that political ladder. Yeah. And all of the places left behind are in destruction that he used to govern.
Awful.
San Francisco, the entire state of California. I mean, why do we want that for the rest of our country?
That's why I do think that he's not going to get into the White House. I think that just he has burned his state to the ground, literally.
Yeah.
Look at the Pacific Palisades is still just like awful.
Terrible.
Awful. And so, but he scares me because people are listening to him.
Yeah.
They listen to him. And I'm like, what?
Well, that's what I was kind of touching on it with his whole redistricting thing is people are supporting it. And I don't trust every poll, but every poll I keep seeing is they're liking how he's tweeting. They're liking the things he's saying. They approve of these new congressional maps. So I'm like, sometimes I feel like California's just a lost cause. Like they deserve what's coming to them. But the reality is that's coming to all of us, you know?
Well, that's the thing is I love California. I love visiting there. I have good friends there. I have clients there.
Yeah.
I love to go. But what I love to do is, and this is the move, I go Southwest. I'll take one of the first flights out in the morning, and I go into John Wayne.
I love that
fuck
airport.
LAX.
I love
but
that airport.
Either Burbank or John Wayne, depending on who I'm going to see. I'm there all day long, and I take the last flight out, and I'm back.
Yeah, and it probably costs you less than $100.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. And so I'm good with that. But to go, like I could not live there.
No,
I could not.
No way.
For all the money, I would not do it. And I love Vegas, but I couldn't do that. But it's Gavin Newsom scares me.
Yeah, then it
greatly.
is scary. Gavin Newsom scares me. Zohan Mandami, who looks like he's going
my
to be the next
God.
mayor of New York, scares me. The guy in Minneapolis, he scares me. I mean, there's a lot of scary, and we have to pay attention because that's how it starts. They're going to seek those lower offices, mayor, city council, and slowly, work up. And if that happens in our top major cities, that's why people are paying attention so much to New York, because it's New York City. It's huge. It's one of the beacons of America. And so if it takes place and gets legs there, it'll quickly spread.
Charlie Kirk said it takes hundreds of years to build up a country and one generation to take it down.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're seeing it now in the UK, in France, with just open borders and people coming in and taking over, government, elected positions where the fabric of the country is now being torn apart.
Right.
And with Mondani going into, and he's going to be mayor. He's going to be mayor. And, Trump is already saying, well, we're going to seize all funding for, stop, stop, Trump, with that shit. Just stop it. But it's like, Maldani was saying something about, I want to say it's public transportation. It came out recently that he said, well, it's going to be free. Well, wait a minute. No, it's going to cost $400 million-ish, and we're just going to tax the rich. Please tell me what rich person is going to stay in, like, they're all going to move to Florida. I was born in New York City. My family is from upstate New York. I go back often to see them. I took my daughter when she was 13. We went to Manhattan for 8 days, had a great time. I wouldn't bring my kids back there now. There's just I wouldn't do it. And I love New York City. Like I said, I have dear friends there.
Yeah, it's great.
But they're all, anybody, as soon as he gets in as mayor, I guarantee you're going to see a mass, just like California. You're going to see a mass migration, most of them to Florida and some to Texas, is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Full stop.
And the crazy thing, too, when you really look at, I was kind of looking at the demographics of the primary, and like the people that supported him were like the wealthy white people. Like Black people, Hispanic people, like overwhelmingly were supporting Cuomo. And it's like these people that support Mondani, I'm like, he lives in like a $4.5 million penthouse apartment on the Upper East Side. His family has a compound in Uganda, like $1 million gated compound. His mom is some super liberal socialist filmmaker. Like, he's an elitist. He is everything he's claiming to fight against. And I understand when you're in a hard place, because communism on paper sounds great.
Great.
Socially, all that. It sounds lovely.
Everyone's equal. We're all going to benefit.
Right. But we know it never works like that. It never happens, and everyone regrets it. And like you said, it's very easy to vote into socialism, communism, that kind of government, but it's very hard to get out of it. Because also one of the first things they do is they take away all your weapons and guns, so you can't fight against them.
And New York City has always been tough. And a lot of people don't know this, but I used to have my CCW in New York State. Just because you have it in New York State is not good for New York City. New York City issues their own permits to concealed carry. And they've always been that way. Yeah. As long as I've been around, that's all I've known. But now it's just like California. Literally impossible to get a firearm. And like my dad, he cannot get high capacity magazines. I was talking yesterday. He's 83. And he's awesome. He's awesome. And I just bought a new Glock, and we're talking about it. He goes, you know what mags you get? He said they come with like 12 round. I go, no, Dad. I got 3 17s double stack. He's like, what? I go, welcome to the free state of Nevada. I sent him an email this morning saying emails you get in the free state of Nevada, the silencer shop, because I'm looking at getting a suppressor for my AR and for my Glock. Yeah. And you can't get that in New York. Right. I mean, oh my God. Something to silence the weapon.
Only the criminals.
Only criminals can get those. So I think that New York City is going to become, in a bad way, a litmus test for this whole go to the stupidest people you can find. Yeah. And tell them, it's almost like you go on ChatGPT and you say, give me people that are left-leaning and what are their biggest pain points? housing,
Mhm.
shelter, food, transportation,
Yeah.
education. Okay, we're going to make it all free. That's what I'm going to run on.
Yeah.
That's what he's
Well,
doing.
free.
Free. And
'Cause
please correct
someone's
me if I'm
paying for
wrong, but that's what basically he's saying. You're not going to pay for any of this. We're going to tax the billionaires and the multimillionaires that are not paying taxes at all right now, which they are paying tax, by the way. But okay, fine.
And he also never really deliberately lays out the plan of like what exactly you're going to do. Like earlier I saw he wants to put $800 million or something like that into stopping crime. He wants to defund the police, but then put all this money into crime prevention. When I'm like, well, what? Like, where is that money going then? If it's not going to hiring more police, what are you doing to stop crime? Sending in these counselors or something, which is a horrible idea because you're sending people into dangerous situations that aren't law enforcement and they're not armed.
Yeah.
Sounds like a terrible.
It's crazy. Let's talk about with armed stuff. What's your feeling on Trump sending in armed forces to cities? What do you think?
You know, I get torn on it because I think obviously crime is a huge issue right now in most of these cities. And there's people that are asking for the help, obviously those more Republican governors and mayors. And then, of course, on the left, I think a lot of time they just want to stick their head under the sand and act like there's not a problem when there is. Because Kathy Hochul had the National Guard come in on the subway for 4 days. I didn't see much outrage on the left against that. So it's kind of give and take. Like, yes, if there's issues with public transportation and people aren't able to freely walk around their neighborhoods or open a business and safely operate that business without fear of your windows being broken every day and all of your goods being stolen. It's like I really do see both sides to it. I don't like the militarization of sending like an army into a city just to kind of take over. But yeah, I mean, if these governors and the mayors are just completely refusing to work with anyone to fix those problems, what do? You know?
I think the optics are terrible.
Well, yeah, totally.
Optics are horrible. Yeah. But if you look at the crime rate in Washington, D.C. over the past month, it's gone. Yeah. Right? Are they in Memphis now, or either going to go to Memphis or they're in Memphis?
Yeah, I think they're going. But see, that was, again, you have like a governor who's cooperating and people, yeah, come on in. We
need help.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Chicago, complete shit show. The mayor is unbelievably just so obtuse to what's going on. Like people his own, like, other black people are showing up to meetings screaming at him.
Yeah, the Chicago Red or whatever that coalition is that's trying to fight. And that's what I was kind of pointing at is they won't even admit that there's the problem. You know, the governor, was her Tina, I forget her last name, of Oregon. You know, she films these little videos, like same with the governor of Illinois. Oh, we're out here. It's safe. But
nothing to see here.
Oh, you're there at like 5 a.m. at like the one little safest area of downtown Portland. Right. And it's like there are millions of videos that exist of downtown Portland, and even the people that live there who are very far left liberals who are saying we need help. We can't walk out in the morning. We can't, you know, there's homeless people and drugs and needles and noise all throughout the night in those little, whatever that autonomous zone is where they've taken over. And when you get on TV and you just deny that anything's going on and you're telling us, oh, there's not a problem, when the internet exists and places like X and Facebook and Instagram where we're all watching it in real time, which is both a good and bad thing, I guess, with social media, but we get to see the real thing. And you get on there as the leader and tell us, oh, there's no problem. It's great. Here I am having breakfast. You have to admit that there's a problem when all of the rest of the world sees it and the people that live in your state or your city see it and they're begging for help.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well
so
said.
So then I get where the federal government would want to come in.
It's more like we talked about in the beginning. It's more of this, I'm here and you're here and there's no way we're ever going to come together on this. I'd rather let my city burn than let National Guard troops come in to help with crime. And how sad is that?
Because you can't just throw money at everything. Because that's typically the answer on the left is more money, more this, let's fund this. But all that money just gets wrapped up in some random NGOs. You have no idea where it's going. You have no idea what it's being used
It goes
for.
to Chelsea Clinton's
It's
wedding.
dark money. It's being funneled, somewhere on the dark web, and you have no idea where it's going or what it's helping. Money doesn't fix everything.
It doesn't. And it's just
more money, more problems. Hello.
We need to start talking. We need to start talking.
Yeah.
And
I think it'd be great if the governor of Oregon said, I want to go out to DC and sit down and talk to Trump. Let's have a meeting. Let's see what we can agree on to fix these obvious issues. Yeah. She would never do that. She would not. If you look at her and you see what she said throughout the years, those governors, they don't want a solution. They just want to be the opposition. They just want to push back.
They just
Their
want to get
policy
reelected.
is F Trump. And
that's it.
That's it.
That's it. Where if I was a governor of Oregon, I would reach out to the mayor of DC, who's a Democrat, and say, hey, I'm going to come in. Can you give me a little tour of what's going on? Off the record, no social media, no press, no nothing. And then let's grab a drink that night and tell me about, really, is this working?
And she hates Trump. She's been an opposition to Trump from day one. But now she's on the record as saying, this has been working. He came in, things are better. Yeah. My city is operating better because of the help from the federal government.
It is, like I said, it's wild times, man. The last thing I wanted to talk about with you, and it's something that was, Rogan talked about it. He had Andrew Santino on, who was a stand-up comic, who was hilarious. And this is right when, it was probably last week is when the episode dropped. And Rogan is a gun, weapons, archery, like he's a hunter. He is an outdoorsman. He knows weapons. And he was baffled that the kid that assassinated Kirk has his grandfather's Mauser. Now, he's saying at 200 yards, if you're well-trained, almost anybody can make that shot.
Right.
Anybody. But also, why was there no security? Why was no security on the rooftops? Why were there no drones that were up? Kirk is a nationally recognized polarizing figure.
Right.
Love him or hate him, he's polarizing. Why? And that's on UVU. Why was the campus was in charge of security? There was none of that. Supposedly, with his grandfather's gun, which again, if you keep it well lubricated and oiled and all that, you can get a gun's 100 years old. It's still going to shoot true. You're fine.
Right.
He has a neck shot at 200 yards. Okay, good shot, but very makeable shot. He then disassembles the gun somehow, which there's no way it would fit in the backpack that he had. There's just no way. Right. Jumps off the roof, assembles it again, and puts it in the woods. And Rogan he showed a video, and we'll find it, and we'll drop it in this clip of, there's a guy and they played the video, it's a Mauser, is the gun that the kid used, and this guy breaks down a Mauser in real time.
Right.
It's literally impossible. And the guy had a good point. He said, this kid did this while all of the adrenaline, you just killed somebody.
Yeah.
The adrenaline rush from that. You're shaking.
Oh, yeah.
You can't think straight, but you can take down a Mauser in like minutes.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. And they're saying, and Rogan came out and said it, and it's just, I find it hard to believe that he's the only person involved.
Yeah.
And there's other cameras that were there, and people on Kirk's team very smartly took the memory chips, the cards out of the digital cameras and gave them to the FBI.
Yeah.
So now we sit and wait. But from what I saw, there's more than one person involved.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this goes back to just overall our lack of trust, I guess I would say, in the government. Is just every time something happens now, we question everything because we've been lied to so much throughout the years. Especially the last 4 years, from everything with COVID to even going back to being repeatedly told the border's closed, this city's safe, this isn't a problem, but we see it with our eyes. So yes, everybody saw something in real time. You watched a video, you're going to second guess everything that's coming out of
everything
their mouths.
Epstein files. Still.
Yeah,
Still waiting.
Well, that's a whole nother episode.
You know, it really
Right,
is.
yeah.
But Ghislaine Maxwell, she's now in a lesser security prison. And okay, but there's more to that. There's got to be more to that. And
that's what's happened. The more we lean into begging for more and more transparency, which I do think the Trump administration has been a good job of being transparent to a point, but for years we're all just so conditioned to being lied to. So every time we see something, and I hate it because I hate that it all turns into everything is a conspiracy theory, and then you're second guessing everything and all the AI and all the deep fakes, and you're like, what is the truth?
It's exhausting.
And the next thing you know, you're second guessing what you believe. And I think a lot of that, again, all falls back to our federal government and not being transparent and lying to the people and not giving us, or giving us false hope, like telling us, oh, these files or these with Epstein, it's all going to be released. And then when that announcement gets made, it's a big nothing burger. And it's 25 pages that are all blacked out and redacted. So I don't know what the truth is when it comes to those things. It's
crazy because you're right. You had a great point, Devin. It's where we now second guess everything. And so like the kid's there, he assassinates Kirk, but does he? And the old man who's there, who was like,
that was apprehended first.
That was apprehended. They're saying that he was possibly a diversionary tactic. He was in on it. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, and it's like you hate to think those things about any horrific situation when somebody's assassinated in cold blood like that. But you do have to question things, and because they lie. They lie to us all the time.
And the first time I can remember being lied to, and this is only a few years ago, I learned about it, was with JFK assassination.
Yeah.
Because that happened. Have you ever gone to Dallas, to Dealey Plaza?
I haven't been where it happened. No.
I was there about 2 years ago. Okay. I was there for a real estate thing, and I'm like, I'm in Dallas. I'm going to go. I walked over. It's small. It's really small. I was like, oh my God. Like the fact that he was in a convertible, open air car, and Lee Harvey Oswald shot from the book depository is like, they have an X where JFK got hit, and then you're up. Like I was right up in and looked down, easy shot. Yeah. Easy shot to make. But now like stuff has come out to say, well, the CIA was the one that did it because, Jack Ruby kills Lee Harvey Oswald and it's a cover up and what the shit. And oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. And there's more than one shooter.
Now we're just in this era of like question everything.
Nothing's
real.
and on top of it, nefarious countries that want to see us divided, putting in with bot farms, adding to that,
all of it,
amplifying all of that with just shitty, mean, divisive content in comments, because everyone now reads the comments. It's not about the posting, it's about the comments. You're reading that.
Even when you reposted our last video, I started getting the notification. I was like, oh, do I want to click start going back to the comments?
Here we go.
But luckily, shout out to my friends and family. There was a lot of good feedback that was posted.
Well, and thank you for coming in.
Yeah,
I love you. I love your brain. Love you too. I just think that you're one of the good ones.
Yeah. And I think what you do is super, because you really are reasonable. You have common sense. You're middle of the road. I'm sure we would disagree on a lot, but I'm sure we would agree on a lot.
Yeah.
And it's important now more than ever to sit down and have conversations. We're all human. At the end of the day, we mostly want the same things. We want to be happy. We want to be comfortable. We want to just live our lives and, and be happy.
That's it. Yeah. It's that easy. Thank you, my friend, for coming in.
Thanks for having me.